Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at some more MM Warrior at the Borderline weapon sets, and of course, I'm going to be using this one with gunpla, not with M-aims. Anyway, as usual, if you do want some of these of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan, link in the description. Anyway, let's get right on into building them. Alright, so this is going to be another pretty quick build. There shouldn't be too much inside of the box. We've got the one bag, two bags. Again, these are just weapons. I'm not sure if these ones are sold separately with other kits like we would have seen before, but usually the labels do tend to give them away. I'm just going to do two cuts with the old God hand nipper right here. It's a bit dated at this point. I've had it for a while, so much so that little screw in the side has fallen out, and that's just a little bit of toothpick glued in there to stop it from opening up so much. Probably should get a new one, but it still cuts pretty damn good. So as for what it says on these right here, these seem a little bit vague. It says HG AIM 8. This is weapon set 7, so that doesn't mean this. HG AIM 6, so these could be from other ones. There's a couple I didn't actually get around to building. Some of the different kind of Brady Hound style ones and whatnot. This one right here says HG AIM 7. Again, 2023. There seems to be a Gatling gun on that. And then finally, this one says HG AIM 8. So a little bit vague as to which kits they may have actually came from and which kits they did not. Actually, if you do know, drop it in the comments. Alright, so it seems like the first thing we're going to be building in here is the Gatling Gun. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a big old Gatling gun, and once again, I'm going to be trying these out with some gunpla. So the Gatling gun right here is made out of 6 parts in total, more like 5 parts and a little bit of a rack piece. So when it comes to the build on this, it's super simple. You just slap 2 sides of the Gatling together. It holds together with the little circular end with the barrel bits on it like this. Then you put together the handle segment, made up of 3 pieces, as well as this little guard section, and that pops in a nice angle down on top of it to kind of hide the overall assembly look to it. It's a nice design overall, and in the end looks pretty cool. We do have a little bit of a rack piece as well, which attaches on just like so you can mount it onto anything with a 3mm hole, and so far, so good. So to try out the Gatling, I'm going to be going with the Rubis, or mainly because it's got a Gatling of its own already. I remember in the Witch from Mercury anime, I was talking about the use of actual traditional physical ammo, and I was like, well, what's better than some traditional physical ammo than more traditional physical ammo? So whipping off the shield for a second to actually check what it's like underneath in comparison, and these are similar enough. Size-wise, this definitely does work quite well with gunpla, as you can see. If I flip it over and remove that little segment that's on the side there, we also have a little 3mm hole in the side on this as well, which makes it quite similar to what we just saw. So in order to get this attached, I do actually have to borrow Ariel's hand because I don't have the alternate hands for this kit nearby at the moment, but the hands are pretty much identical. On just attaching this on, there is the Gatling, and this Gatling is kind of held in a funny kind of way. It's held way at the back in an almost armored core kind of way, so if you are looking to armor core up your kits a bit, this will work very well. And for those 30-minute mission armored core kits we're going to be seeing sometime hopefully next year. So there is a handle up top, so that does mean you have the option of dual handing this weapon here. Now the joints in this Gundam aren't as over the top and whacked out as something you'd see on an MM Warrior kit, so it does mean that actually getting the arms into the right position can be a little bit difficult, but not impossible. So that right there is what the Rubis will look like double handing this particular Gatling gun. Now there's a whole lot you can do with this right here. First off, if I just switch it all around to the other side, so it's dual handing this on the other side, it means you can actually take the shield we had on the side of the actual Gatling gun from this kit and pop it onto that. So it kind of looks like an upgraded, longer or heavier duty version of what it had already, which is a really, really cool option. The other one then, of course, is to go full heavy arms on this, or should I say heavy arms custom, and give it dual Gatling guns. Sure, there isn't multiple Gatling guns on each, well, depends on how many of these boxes you buy and latch them together, but this is what it ends up looking like with the dual Gatling gun. So this is a cool option, already working really good for this kit, and will work for all standard high-grade Gundams. Awesome. So the last little bit we have in here is this little attachment part on here, which kind of gives it a little bit of a pivot handle storage thing. Now in the instructions it says you can attach this onto the backpacks of various AIM Warrior kits, in that usual kind of AIM backpack kind of way, but on here I suppose you can stick this into any 3mm hole you can find. For example, onto the side of the Gatling gun just like so, and there is already one dual Gatling gun going for you, or you can pop it off and stick it onto the side of the arm, which looks even better for this kind of side-mounted Gatling that's almost like a sub-Gatling gun to the Gatling gun in the hand. Finally then, you could just stick this onto anything. It does say in the instructions it's for using with various vehicles as well. So this could like go in under a wing, on top of some kind of driving vehicle like that cool truck we would have seen before, and this just has so many potential uses. Pretty awesome Gatling. Next weapon. So the next weapon that we're going to be taking a look at in here is the short barrel rifle. What it says right here is this is a firearm for aims that is fixed to the arm when in use. It was specifically developed for close range combat. Its short barrel allows it to be aimed swiftly. Again, assembly right here is super simple, just 2 main parts for the body of the short rifle, and then 3 parts to put together the handle, then you attach the handle on to the actual rifle like so. Simple build and looks good. So the next weapon in here is the short barrel rifle right here. Now this has a strange design that of course matches mainly with aim kits. That is, this part back here being the attachment point for the forearm and the handle up here. Now I grabbed Gundam Aerial into the hole it's meant to attach into, then the handle doesn't actually reach the hand. So I was like, we're gonna need some kind of monkey-armed Gundam, when I realized we do have a very monkey-armed Gundam, being this one right here. So funny enough, back to another Rubis popping its weapon out of its hand. It does have that 3mm peg hole up here so that can attach in, and this just about fits into the arm. I mean, that is a tight fit. It's even kind of angled the hand a little bit funny. So this could be used on this particular mech, but not quite. It is quite a little bit on the awkward side. Now you could just possibly nip and sand away this little guy back here and have yourself a little bit of a weapon, but it really does feel like it's been designed to be used with that little rear segment back there. So I don't know, maybe this one doesn't work too well with gunpla. Anyway, that right there is what it looks like in a little bit of a pose holding onto it. So somewhat works, somewhat doesn't. So I assume that's going to be exactly the same as what we're going to be seeing next, which is very, very similar. So the next weapon in here is the assault rifle. Now I notice this is the exact same connection we would have seen for the forearm that we saw in the last weapon. So that does mean it may be specifically designed for the Brady Hounds right here. What it says about the weapon is, this is a portable weapon that fires physical projectiles. It is fixed to the arm when in use. It is relatively lightweight and easy to wield, enabling stable, medium-range firepower. So this assault rifle is essentially, in essence, the exact same weapon as we just saw with the short barrel rifle. 2 parts that attach together, and the handle is 100% identical, 3 parts. They all combine, and this right here is what you get. So there is the assault rifle when it is done. Again, a very nicely designed weapon, but this is one that 100% took those Brady Foxes, or Brady whatever they're called, into consideration, as this part back here is what attaches into the arm, and this bit up front. But we are trying this out with gunpla, so first off I will throw it into Ariel's hand just so you can see what it does look like. I suppose you could kind of modify something so it could attach in like so, but it is, as you can see, held somewhat off to the side, and without that kind of mounting point in the arm, it does look and feel a little bit on the awkward looking and feeling side. So when it does come to attaching on this assault rifle, it really doesn't work at all with the aerial. The spacing just isn't good enough, and even though it is a nice looking rifle, it just doesn't work. Moving now over to the Rubis Thorn again, and here it is attached into its arm, and this just isn't gonna fit. I was pretty sure this was the same spacing or similar spacing, at least to the last weapon that we saw, but it just doesn't seem to be fitting this time around. It is a bit of a shame. It is a nice looking weapon, but this just is 100% designed for aim kits, specifically the Brady's. So it does seem like this one's not gonna work with gunpla. The next weapon in here is a blade, and well, it's essentially a big knife. It is all one piece on the runner just like so. You just snip it off the runner just like so, and then it is done. It's very, very simple, and well, it's just a simple knife, all in one color. So for this blade, I'm going to be trying it out with the La Gundam. Now, when it comes to entry-grade kits, they do kind of inhabit the similar or same space as high-grade kits, but not entirely. One thing that really does set them apart is the hands. These do not open up in the sandwich style, which means that any weapon that isn't just a regular little square blocky bit won't slide down into their hands if they've got any kind of wide bit at the end, which sometimes some weapons do. That is not the case with the blade right here. This is just a simple big old knife. Now, we'll mention that there is that little bit up there that's for attaching it under the arm of a Brady unit, so that can't be used on anything but the Brady unit, and it does attach in under their arm. But anyway, with a kit like this, you can just slide on in, and this is quite a large blade. This is Definitely beyond a knife for a Gundam, and it does look quite nice. I do find sometimes it is nice to give your Gundam kits a bit of a weapon that isn't just a beam weapon, and this is a unique and nicely shaped knife. It does what a knife does, no more, no less, and I suppose I'll flip it into the reverse grip so you can see what it's like around there as well, but it does look like it might be a little bit too big to be using in that kind of way. But yeah, definitely compatible with gunpla. Next weapon. So the weapons now are getting back into being interesting, and what we have right here is referred to as the Javelin. What the instruction says about it is, this is a surface-to-air missile launcher for AMAIMs. That's pretty much all you need to know. It's a surface-to-air missile launcher. Again, simple build right here. It's just 3 pieces. That is one half, the handle that pops in just like so, and then the other half. That is what it looks like. Simple, effective, and fairly large. Alright, so here is the Javelin, and if I had only one complaint to actually mention about this thing right here, is that the business end that's meant to be blasting out missiles is covered over by a bit of plastic. It would look a little bit better if it was hollow, or if that was just plain blacked out. Besides that though, it does look nice, and it's large. We've got a moving handle down here, and let's try it out. So I'm just going to be trying out with a standard, or well, should I say a non-standard standard Gundam, which is the RX-78 Beyond Global High Grade. So that'll just pop on into the hand like so, so it definitely does fit. It's a big, massive missile launcher and does look pretty ridiculous to say the least. So that is what it looks like attached onto a Gundam. There is holes in the sides there and there for mounting other stuff onto it or mounting it onto a kit. What it shows in the instructions is this right here, so it on the back rack of an AMAIM kit, which you can most certainly do if you've got an AMAIM kit. Anyway, so this one definitely works with gunpla. Next weapon. Next up then we've got a flamethrower, and that is something I've always felt Gundams need more of, a flamethrower. What it says is, this is an incendiary device for close combat. It says a little more than that, but what else do you need? Imagine superheating up the cockpit area of someone's mobile suit and just cooking them alive inside. Now that we need to see more on Gundams. Victory and dinner all in one shot. Again, simple assembly like we would have seen before. 2 parts being the 2 halves of the actual flamethrower, 2 halves then to build what seems to be the fuel tank, and then you just pop the fuel tank onto the side, whichever side that you like. Can go either way. So this right here is what the flamethrower looks like finished. We've got some kind of canister up top, one right here. It doesn't really scream flamethrower to me. It looks like some kind of cobbled together radiation weapon or something like that, but we have holes in the sides. Once again, you can pop these onto one of those AMAIM back racks, a standard handle, so any gunpla should be able to hold onto this, and it is grabbed at the end like so. Once again, very Armored Core style. So for this, I'm going to go with the high-grade Gundam Kyrios because I thought, well, it kind of reminded me of the weapon it already has. So it'd be interesting to have a bit of a kind of fly-in and hit-and-run style attacking Gundam that uses a flamethrower. Anyway, popping this off. Also, when it's in its transformed mode, it would kind of have a little bit of a dragony aspect. And no, I'm not going to try transforming it with this weapon attached. Anyway, it can just slide on into any standard Gundam hand, just like so, so fits absolutely perfectly. This then attaches on in like so. So this flamethrower can definitely fit into the hand of the Kyrios just like so, but the Kyrios definitely has very, very weak wrists, and it's always kind of been this way. You can tighten them up, of course, but it's not really working out. Now, I will mention, in the actual hand, there is a little bit of a wiggle as well. Not too much, a little bit, but when it comes to the Kyrios, this ain't working out too well. It will work in other high-grade kits, definitely. It's not the most flamethrower-y looking flamethrower, well, that I've ever seen, but yeah, that is what it looks like. Next weapon. Next up, we've got some cool bits. That's thruster units and guard units. These remind me of 30-minute missions, how you'd always get those little bits. And also very similar to 30-minute missions as well, is these 3mm to 3mm little adapter segments for attaching stuff on. Definitely handy. Those are always super, super handy for your gunpla and other kits. So in order to take a decent look at these, we need something with enough hard points to actually attach them on. So I'm going to be going with the Entry Grade Strike Exceed Galaxy, which has some nice ones on the sides of the legs, on its weaponry, on its elbows, shoulders, etc. Mainly because this is one of those kits that's designed to be, oh, didn't expect that to fall off, but it's designed to be a kit that you can attach so much onto. There's even some up top right there. So I'm going to attach these thruster segments to the lower legs, so they just pop on just like so, with a real 30-minute missions flair. Round to the other side and get that one on. And these extra parts I'm just going to attach up onto the shoulders just like so. Now these even have an additional 3 hard points on them, so 1, 2, and 3, so you can do even more with that. So that is what the strike looks like with all of this stuff attached on. So we've got some armor up on the shoulders, some thrusters down the legs, which all add a little bit more attachment points onto them, which is just perfect for something like this, which is already covered in attachment points. A little bit more extra bulk looks nice on it, and if these are actually painted into the color of the armor with some of the grey remaining, it would really gel on in and look phenomenal. So we do have some adapters in here. These are basically 3mm to 3mm, 2 different types. This one has a little bit of an arm in between. Various little attachment points like so for attaching on everything we would have seen already. So let's give them a go. So I'm going to try a couple of things with this kit to see how it works out. This actually is a really good Gundam for firing extra weapons onto because it's really designed for it. First off, underneath these wings on the back, these tiny little wings, they do have 3mm holes in the right spot for that kind of armored core over the shoulder weapon kind of majigger. So that means I'm going to throw on the weapons around back, the big heavy weapons, the Gatling and that Javelin, and they pop on absolutely perfect to be stored around back like so. Now we do have 3mm to 3mm little points like this. These are such handy little aspects for attaching things together. We have 2 of these. Just for the sake of example, I'll throw it on the side of the flamethrower, then up on the shoulder like so. This to me doesn't really work because it looks like the unit will be really weighed off to the side and it just doesn't really work very aesthetically either. Well, that's just what it looks like for the sake of example. Anyway, on popping that off, we can just have these weapons like so. So now the Gatling can spin up over the shoulder like this, and that works out quite well. The Javelin in kind of the same sort of way as well. Now, these can't actually bring their handles to where the Gundam could grab them, sadly. Actually, maybe it could. I'll check that in a second. But they can come over the shoulders like so for maybe use over shoulder. Gatling shots, ground-to-air missile. I guess it could be air-to-air missile if he's up in the air like so. But these do work out extremely well. But yeah, can we get the handle to reach the hand from up here? It just seems like it might be the absolute wrong way around. So I'm just going to take this. Oh, it'd have to be on the other side. So off with the Javelin. Pop this on. That still doesn't make any sense. It would have to be this way. So maybe it was right. Okay, popped like so. Try and bring it up. Could the arm reach up and catch it? Nah, I'd consider that a fail. Not gonna fit. Not very well thought out. Works better as a shoulder weapon. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and once again, this is a cool set of weapons. These will work perfectly with AM-aims, whether they're actual AM-aims or they're braided units, so that is a given. Now, whether or not they work with gunpla, for the most part, what you get in here does work. If you're a little bit all about customizing, you could probably work the other 2 weapons, being the short barrel rifle and the assault rifle, into actually working for you. But besides that, this is compatible with high grades and entry grades across the board, so it definitely works. Anyway, if you want one of your own, link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video right here would not have been possible without each and every single one of you guys who watches my videos, and all of these awesome people right here who help out on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, including 10 Soldier YT, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Dashil Marmion, Go Little Rockstar, Joe, Lauren Seahack, or G95061, 10 Soldier YT again, and Van Fawn.